Welcome to West Virginia Sports Connection. I'm your host, Tracy Abdallah, joined as always by my co-host, three-time NFL All-Pro Carl Lee. We got a special show for you today. We've taken the show on location. We're down in Huntington, West Virginia at Marshall University in the basketball offices, and we are with the head basketball coach, Dan D'Antoni. Coach, thank you so much for giving us some time.
Tracy, Carl, good to see you. Carl especially. Pretty well.
I get that a lot.
He's not worth it.
He's pretty well known around this part. You know, it'll be, who's the guy with Carl?
That's pretty much how it goes most of the time. But I'm smart that way because that's why I've got him.
There you go.
So listen, you're a Marshall guy. I mean, you went to Marshall.
Yep.
You're now coaching at Marshall. You went away for quite some time and taught,
a few years.
basketball.
Let's don't get too long.
We'll just say a few years.
I'm still coaching, so I got to reduce those years.
In South Carolina, what made you, first of all, choose Marshall to play here?
It was the only offer I had. I was down there. I was
that
like you,
feeling,
Carl.
yeah.
Hey, nobody wanted me.
Nobody wanted me.
But, and it was funny because it kind of worked out both ways as a player and as a coach. I was the second choice. They went down to see Dallas Blankenship, who played at Pineville. And Ellis Johnson, who was the coach, came down to watch Dallas, not me. Didn't even know about me. But after the game, he came into my locker room. He said, all right, I got to be honest with you. I came down to get Dallas, and we're going to go get Dallas, but I came into this locker room first. So
I said,
he goes, when he offered me, he goes, what do you think? I said, let me go through my offers. Okay. and when I came back to coach, they went after Mike. And I kind of fell back into it again. So there I am.
So you were coaching, right after you played, you were coaching the freshman team, yeah?
Yeah, right as soon as I finished, I coached Mike's team. He was a freshman here. And I coached that. And then the next year I became an assistant coach. Plane crash happened. And it kind of messed some people up, especially me. I was pretty tight with everything, and just I had a Buick Skylark. I was living above Doc Hagley's house, who was on the plane, he and his wife, and just didn't seem the same. So I packed up all my furniture and put it in a Buick Skylark, had no job, had no money, and everything I had was in that Skylark and a new bride, and we took off Myrtle Beach and then stayed there for 35
I'm going to jump in and stay on that subject just for a little bit because I was young and knew of the crash but didn't really know because I was so young at the time. And when I came to Marshall and played my 4 years here, we had the anniversary. We went to the gravesite. During homecoming, we watched Brian's song, which wasn't not something that was going to like pep you up.
Right.
But I didn't know that Sonny Randall was the opposing coach of the team. I didn't know that Reggie Oliver was the quarterback of the Young Thundering Herd.
Right.
And I called a bunch of my buddies after I saw the movie and said, "Man, I wish I would have known that in detail of what I was a part of,
right.
Because it would have changed the whole dynamic of how I treated the school or how I felt about being here."
Right.
Saying that to say to you, give me, because you said like it bothered you so much you packed up and left. Yeah. I'm interested in like what that was like to have known like people that were there and all of a sudden you just have to leave.
Well, I'm a little, and it makes me a little bit different than people who go back to remember the crash. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to go back, and the people that I knew would probably not want you to go back.
Right.
And they want you to move Marshall forward.
Right.
And that the focus should be there. And I'm a little bit slower about pushing that plane crash on my players in that I don't want them to be here out of a tragedy. I want them to be here out of making Marshall successful. And I think that's what those people were. Doc Hagley and Shirley Hagley, I lived behind their house. He was like a godfather to me. Ted Shoebridge and I were best friends. Marcel Latterman was dating my ex-wife's sister. We all ran together.
Right.
And, it was hard. And so I don't like going back.
Right.
And I don't even think they want us to. I'll never forget.
Right.
You're never going to forget it, but to go back and renew it every year, first of all, I don't want to put that burden on my players.
Right. Because I know for me, it didn't get you ready to play.
Right.
But I felt like in hindsight, once had seen the movie,
Right.
then I was like, gosh, I felt like I wanted more. I wanted to be more a part of that of some sort.
I can see that, but Carl, I to be honest with you, I think they wanted you to play forward, not backward.
Yeah.
And you know what? That celebrates their life more than anything. It's not remembering them; it's moving Marshall forward because that's what they gave their life up.
Right.
And so I don't really play back on it that much. I don't want my players to have to feel what I feel.
Right.
And so we move away from it a little bit more maybe. And I understand what other people, but anybody that was really, really connected with it,
It's too difficult.
that's hard.
Yeah. Understandable.
So.
Out of that tragedy, I mean, you've seen the rise of Marshall. You saw the rise of the football program, and you yourself have taken the basketball program. I mean, you're responsible for essentially the only win in the NCAA tournament, for Marshall. So
a lot of players took me along with it.
Took you for the ride.
I've never been a great horse like Carl was. I could ride the hell out of one. I'll tell you that real quick. So I rode my players wherever they were.
Well, but you've seen the arc, just go up and up and up, and obviously, in those early years, especially Carl, when you were here, it was kind of dark. But when you sit back and you look at it now, I mean, it's got to make you smile a little bit.
Well, Bob Pruitt's from down in my area, down the hollows. He was up on top of the hollow. I was in the hollow. But great coach, obviously great things that happened here with him. But all I know, the best part I know about those teams and the football rise was that I made a lot of money when they came to South Carolina. Twice. There were a lot of people take a bet right now. If I'd had more money, I'd probably retired already. I just didn't have enough to bet. But those were good times. And we've had a pretty good storied football program and basketball program. We weren't as the movie obviously took the football program, gave them a little more boost, and a lot of people do see it and recognize Marshall football. But for a smaller school, and I'm not going to say small school, we're a good-sized mid-major. We got to quit thinking small. My goal here is to win the NCAA title.
Right.
Now, a lot of people look, like when we were growing up, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't play Division I. You're too little. But I don't buy into that philosophy. We made one step toward it the last year, not this year, but last year, and we're regrouping with a bunch of kids that I think can give us a shot. So I don't think necessarily small. We do have a great program football. It's fun to be at university. You can walk everywhere here and get to the games and root them on. I don't know what more you want. Sometimes we are our worst enemies in that we downplay who we are. And I never do that. Somebody said, well, how do you see things? I go, you see it half full or half empty? So I see it full all the time. It ain't never empty.
Right.
It ain't never half full. It's always full.
And I'd make the case that you are a strong face of this program. Sometimes the school can kind of hold on, or a football program can own the school. But I feel like you have established by who you are, how you coach, personality, that you have created a reality that this is your program and this is part of Marshall University.
Well,
let me before you answer that, they're telling me we got to take a commercial.
I told you wouldn't ask me about a couple questions. Hell, just let me run, baby. I got it.
So we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want, and I want. You can do and you can say anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sport shirts, Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and play time. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, Briggs Commercial Realty, Angel Moore, Broker, Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from the campus of Marshall University. We're in the basketball office with head coach Dan D'Antoni. Coach, we went out of the break. Carl was asking you a question about, you've kind of, and tell me if I don't simplify this too much, in what has sort of been known as a football school, you've kind of left your mark and raised the profile of the basketball program.
Well, when I was here, it was a basketball school. Mm-hmm. And, in fact, I watched 28 straight losses from the football program. And then they had the team come in right before the crash that was gave a lot of hope about raising the spectrum or the visibility of the football program. Basketball at that time, we had played a couple NITs national. We had played Houston and Madison Square Garden, #1 team in the country with Elvin Hayes, and gave them a run that was close. Mike's team came in, finished 12th ranked nationally. One year, played in the NCAA tournament, played in the NIT, and then it started moving down. Football started moving up. Not that I think the two affected either one.
Right.
It's just what happened. And being the face of it, I guess I had an advantage. One, I played here, and I had some success. My brother played here. My uncle was a football quarterback, is in the Hall of Fame from here, that played here. My dad got his master's from here. My sister's done well and as a associate superintendent of schools. My other brother is a lawyer in Charleston. And, like I said, I've been very blessed to have a lot of people help me be who I am. Now, I am, you either like me or you don't. I have that personality that's going to step out a little bit. But, I think my heart's in the right place. I think people recognize that. I believe in West Virginians. I believe in Marshall. I even recognize the school from University of Southern Pennsylvania in Morgantown. And I recognize all that. And they're good folks, But, there's a good rivalry. There's nothing wrong with stoking that fire a little bit and passion. And I have a lot of passion for this. And I have a reason. Doc Hagley, who was on that plane, always said I was going to be the coach. And it took a while.
He said that to you?
Yeah. Yeah, right before when I took the job as a freshman coach. He had told me, you stay here 10 years, you'll be the head coach. And he started the Big Green. He's the one that was really the big backer here at Marshall. And then it passed away. It just took a little while, but I got here.
What's the moment that that's whether it's coaching, winning a game, losing a game, practice, sitting at your desk, doing this, is there a moment that you can hear that prediction and say, gosh, he was right? Or do you live it every single moment? Because I would think there'd be things that would come up that would make you reflect on that moment. If you come here when I'm at practice, I go down early and I'm sitting there and I'm just saying thanks, So I told them when we won we beat Western and won the tournament to go to the NCAA. They had 2 shots at the end, and my dad had passed away at 103. It was a heck of a coach. He reached down and blocked that first shot, and then Doc Hagley came down. And he got in there. That's it. You're all going. So I said, well, there we go. Somebody help me out. So again, like I said, there's a lot of
you know, and Carl, you probably know this, or Tracy, you know, anytime you do something, there's a lot of help. You don't do it by yourself. And I've had a lot of help. The people here at Marshall, our fan base has come back. They're supported. There's a lot of passion for this program. And that lifts my coaching abilities, and it makes me a better coach. And so you play on the backs of people. You know, I always have. You got to do your part.
Right.
I'm not saying that you can't do your part, but if you do it the right way, there's a lot of passion here in this state for sports, and always has been. You know, my dad was a football, basketball, and baseball player. And I grew up trying to play baseball. I tried to play a little football. Shit, you had to stay outdoors on both. It was cold as hell. I said, you know, who would want to play outdoors? So I went inside. They wore those little fancy shorts, you know. It don't hit me so damn hard. But, you know, I enjoyed it, and it's fun here. And I am who I am, and tried the best I can to get Marshall as much recognition as possible. For the school it is. It's a good school.
Well,
So.
I want to talk about that run you guys made last year in the NCAA tournament. You faced, well, you won, you know, like you gave the story about how everybody blocked those shots. Your dad and Doc blocked those shots. But when you play Wichita State, I don't think anybody else was blocking those shots. You guys,
We played that game.
I run, as a lot of people know, Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston, and I had never had, and we've tried, have such a huge Marshall crowd, and I'm telling you what, they were going crazy.
Good.
Everybody was going nuts. I mean, everybody was high-fiving. Everybody had their phones out, you know, putting it on Facebook and everything else, and it was just such a rush, you know, to see how you guys played. And I mean, you really just beat them down. It wasn't a comeback. I mean, you controlled that game.
In fact, it was a lot further than the score indicated, but our play was a lot better. But Carl can tell you this, until you get used to playing at that level, it's always close, even though you got to beat them by 20 to beat them too. Then you kind of get a little swagger about you, and that 20-point difference will be 20 points. Yeah. But when you first go into a setting that you haven't been in before, and you have to perform at a higher level than what you're used to, it takes a while to get that reputation where you go in and your actual play is what the score is going to be. They're always going to be played closer. I found that in high school when we took Sauk City High School up to different levels. We had to beat a team to death to beat them by 2. And then all of a sudden we go back 10 years later where we've done it, and we're beating that team by 40 like we should have. Mm-hmm. And so I think our program's getting there. And again, you know, when you have John Elmore and C.J. Burks and I'll give you with Jared West. That was a West Virginia. You know, his dad went to West Virginia. He was a good player there. He hit the winning shot with Potsdam to go to the Sweet 16. Yeah. And when you got players like that, and a kid down, Rondell Watson out of the Greenbrier, you know, every day I go to practice, we'll have 30 or 40 coaches sitting in the stands. I call them the armchair coaches. And it's fun. I go over and talk to them and laugh. And that's what it is. For sports passion. And life should be passion. Right. And then you should enjoy it. And you know what? I want to deliver that for the kids I coach to. And then that just kind of goes out to your fan base. They feel it, you know, and then they get excited.
How would you classify your coaching style and the play? Because I know there's been a lot of people talking about your style of play, the way Marshall plays. How do you classify that, and how does that relate to you as your personality, and or how do you classify you as a coach and how that reflects on the floor?
I'm glad you led me to that, because that's a great question. And a lot of, you know, Mike and I, they play a lot like in Houston right now, the Rockets. We're same type of style. You have it changes, it morphs a little bit with players, the different players you have. But we played that back when we were here. It was the first good shot, take it. I always tell somebody, why do you take the first good shot? I said, because we weren't good enough, maybe not get another one. So we're going to take that first one right now. But we played that way. My dad coached that way in the hollows of West Virginia and Eastern Kentucky, and all this, you know, Ellis was from Ashland, my coach, and They fast break, move the ball, spread it, get it out, go. And we played that way here. You know, we played Old Dominion when I was here without a three-point line, which we shot a lot of three-point shots, and beat them 131 to 90 some. You know, so we scored a lot of points back then, and then it died out, and everybody started getting more of a patterned, tighter game. And you know, Mike and I have always been kind of gunslingers. You know, hey.
I'm gonna cut you off right there because I want to come back to that because I want to talk to a comment you made in one of the post games.
It's called hillbilly ball. I wear it on my chest, and I ain't afraid somebody call me a hillbilly because by the time it's over, I'm gonna make you want to be a hillbilly.
All right, with that, we're gonna take another commercial break. Hey, don't forget if you like what you see, you can check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Apple iTunes, and our website at wvsportsconnection.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want. And I want. You can do and you can say anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sport shirts, Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and play time. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, Briggs Commercial Realty, Angel Moore, broker. Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We're coming to you from the campus of Marshall University, talking with head basketball coach Dan D'Antoni. Coach, I cut you off when we went out. Carl was asking you about your style of play, and you were calling it hillbilly ball. And you made a comment. I came down for the last two games of the CIT final, and you made a comment that that has been used with both you and your brother. There's no D. And you said, well, there's a D today in D'Antoni. So talk about that, because you said it's hillbilly ball and you guys shoot, and you were talking about how the game, I guess, after you played, kind of got constricted more or less before the three-point line came around.
When they say no defense, that's not true. And the reason is with the focus, because we do score a lot of points, goes to offense. So when they see that happen, and Carl can tell you, it's hard to beat a team 52-0 now. They're probably going to score a few touchdowns on you. Right. And so if you score 100 points, well, the other team's not going to have 50. They're probably going to have 80. And so when people look and they look at your points per game that you give up at the end of the year, well, they give up 80 points a game. Well, yeah, that doesn't mean there's not any defense being played. Because to me, the defense is the spread of the score. In other words,
right.
We stopped you 10 more times you stopped us. So it's a 20-point game.
That's defense.
So that's defense. And I just think it's the way they track the defensive part of the game as to whether, we can score. I can keep you in the 50s. I'll just hold the damn ball on offense.
Right.
And keep you in a 50s game, you know.
And you don't have to play that much defense
No.
because you're holding the ball.
Right, I'm holding the ball. So, you know, it's I see John walk by. Coach, I got all these points. You got to let it go. And I agree with it. But I think it's more fun for the stands and the people. It's an entertaining value, too. You're not just – I want to compete, and there's obviously a winning scenario to everything. Yeah, you got to be able to compete, and but you want to play at a high level that's fun, entertaining to watch, that people can come and get excited. So I feel that way. I tell my players, go down and high five the fans. You know, they're a big part of this, and I try to include them in everything. And I think they are a big part of our success here so far. And I think they'll be an even bigger part because our fan base has gone. When I first got here, about 2,500. We did averaged over 6, but we had crowds at 7 and 8, and so I think we're bringing that back, and it's all part of, you know, living and enjoying life. And I enjoy coaching. I hope that shows to our fan base. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy the referees. You know, even though I'll jaw at them. You know, one of them once said, "You got to quit yelling at me." I said, "That's what they pay me to do." Are you kidding? You see those people? They're enjoying watching me go at it with you. I said, "They're going to come
the
back.
attention there, yeah.
They pay your check. Relax, will you? It'll be all over." But that's the fun of it all.
You made the comment about, I think we were off air, you were talking about you have 4 West Virginia
Right,
players, and
more than that, but those were the prominent ones.
Yes,
right.
and we were talking a little bit about West Virginia and the athletes that can come out of West Virginia, and you talked about, you know, wanting to have as many West Virginia kids,
right?
And we've heard Coach Neal up at West Virginia talk about that,
right?
Same type of thing.
I would hope. Yeah.
And what do you say to parents out there that want to come to Marshall, or that would want their kids to come to Marshall? How do you reach them and say, this is the program you want to play in?
Well, I think first of all, it's the history of what you do, and we did take players, and they are being successful, West Virginians, and they do play here in more numbers than some other places. But I think that's and I believe in them.
Yeah.
You know, I was one of those skinny little kids that everybody overlooked, and felt like, you know, I did pretty well for myself. Mike was another one, had a little more renown, but still skinny little kid coming out. And, so I just try to convince them that, you know, dream big, don't pigeonhole your dreams. Don't look at this as when we talked about it, it's not a small school. No, we're a big school. We're going to be big time. And people from the outside look at you as like, again, they look at me like I'm a hillbilly, but, you know, I'm a proud hillbilly. And I can make things where you want to be one too. And so I probably put the state of West Virginia forward. I recognize that our fan base is basically here, especially southern West Virginia, but we do touch into our kissing cousin over in Kentucky, and up into Ohio. We have kind of a regional area, tri-state area here, and try to say, hey, let's be successful together, and it's going to take all of us. And so far, so good. We still want to get better than that. And I think we got a group, even though we lost some real players. John Elmore reset the record book, everything, which is, I don't know if you know this, but his dad, who's Charleston, and John are the all-time leading father-son scorers ever in in the NCAA. And you know who they passed? Seth Curry and Dale Curry.
Dale Curry, yeah.
That's pretty good for a bunch.
That's not a bad
and
deal.
And we are the logo of NBA. I mean, what more you want? You know, this is the place where it comes. So, you know, we're part of it. Hal Greer, top 50.
Yeah.
Mike D'Antoni, 2 daggone Coach of the Year in the NBA.
And it just amazes me that that's not information that's just circulating all the time.
Well, I told you before, and I'd love to see a 9,000-seat arena, a hotel, and then the celebration of West Virginia, a place where we come in and we highlight the little girls down, or young women now, or older women now, that were with NASA down from Greenbrier, You got Brad Smith here, who had a great chip company. Oh, heck, even Greg Hammond's had Subways all over the damn. You know, there's a lot of successful people.
Yeah.
And I just think we should highlight that, and that will spur the next generation to come and do good things.
I think we need a place that will recognize athletes, business people, entrepreneurs, all of those kinds of things, so that our youth have something to see. Because right now, you can outgrow your success. You know, I'm not like my high school. I've outgrown the respect to say, okay, that guy came to my school, was in my school, went to Marshall, won about 8 games in 4 years, and went on and played in the NFL. I've outgrown that, and those kids are looking for somebody else.
Well, I don't know about that. Don't sell yourself too short.
Well,
because you still inspire a lot of people, but I do think you have to stay current.
Yeah.
You have to keep the name and images out in front, and especially in this area that sometimes the images coming from the outside kind of push you in a shadow, and what you want to do is shine the light from the inside out so that there's no shadow cast on West Virginians. And I've always wanted, even when I went away to the southern capital of West Virginia, Myrtle Beach, I was always a West Virginian. And everywhere I went, I was always a West Virginian. So I had a chance to retire. I could have gone anywhere. You know, I've been fortunate with everything that I could get anywhere I wanted to go. But I chose to come back to West Virginia. My brother chose back. His home after he played is in Sporting Club down in Greenbrier. He came back to West Virginia. And, you know what? There's a lot of them that done that. It's a great place.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking for, but hell, if you got a good TV set and a nice sofa, you go outside on the porch. What the hell you want? You know, so you know that's basically me. I love this place, you know, and enjoy doing what I do.
Well, Coach, it's been a real pleasure. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I hope you allow us to come back down and talk to you some more, because it's been a real treat for me, and I'm going to assume for Carl as well.
Yeah.
It's been
It
fun
was
for
nice
us.
to meet Carl. Not so much you, but I really appreciate meeting Carl.
I don't mind tagging along.
Hey,
He gets me in the door to a lot of places.
Hey, you're like me and my brother. You know? They go right by me. I go, oh, hey. It happens. I was always second, so but second's not bad.
Second's not bad.
Second's
not bad.
So that's good.
All right, so thanks for watching West Virginia Sports Connection. Again, if you like what you see, you can watch us on Facebook, on YouTube, our podcast on Apple iTunes, and our website at wvsportsconnection.com. We'll see you next time.